So why did they make it so silly with all this like God stuff, touch the thing, bleed it out, sprinkle blood on stuff, rip off the heads of turtle doves? Why did they do all that stuff when they were just like making soap? Hey folks, welcome to Bad Bible Debates. I'm Joel, and this is a podcast where Mezzo and I share some of our finest debates from all over the internet. Yeah, that's right, I'm here with nobody. I'm here all by myself, because don't sing that around Mezzo. He'll have to play the whole song. But look, Mezzo texted me. He goes, I'm here. Because I said, where? Actually, I texted him first. I said, where the living hell are you? And he was like, here. But I don't see him. You're not here, Mezzo. You're not here. Where are you? I'm not sending a voice text or something. I'm just like, where you say you're here, but if you're not here, then you're not here. Here is here. But look, I guess here doesn't mean what I thought it meant. But that's really typical of Christians, by the way. Words don't mean anything. And we are going to get a dose of that in this first debate. And I was joined by my good friend Skits of Skits and Bits fame. You can find him on YouTube and, of course, TikTok. Hey, check out this Bad Bible debate. BBDs. Dark Saber, are you a Christian?
Yes. I had a question about the conversation with the last guest. When it says that death, you will die today, did God's presence leave them that day?
Of course not. He's omnipresent.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
He is, but in that instance in the garden, wasn't he chilling? He was more tangibly present, according to the
he
story.
continued to come down and be present with people long after that.
Would you say the garden interactions were unique in comparison to the rest of the Bible?
Unique in comparison to him strolling around with Abraham? Not really. Very similar.
So when his presence left them in that day, then isn't that when death entered in?
Where's the verse?
You will die this day.
Yeah, but where's the one where his presence leaves them?
Well, when they leave the garden, or when he leaves.
Well, that's not what happens. No, they leave the garden, and he puts an angel there so they can't access the tree of life. It doesn't mention his presence leaving. That's just you making something up.
Why wouldn't God just guard the tree in the first place?
Yeah, guard the bad tree.
I'm sorry. I have to say,
who let you up?
I don't know.
Can't just let yourself up.
But the last guest was saying a day isn't a day, and now this guy's saying die doesn't mean die. It means God will walk with you a little bit less. What are we doing?
It's Christianity, Mezzo. Don't question it.
It's poetry.
No, that's not what I said.
This is what's going. This is typically what goes on.
That's not what I said.
Justice means genocide.
Hold on, Dark.
Loving means you better run and hide. Good means really, 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 really bad. For a Christian, words are nothing like you've ever heard. They don't have the meanings that you always thought they had. Yeah, words don't mean anything. And a day means 1,000 years.
It seems that their death seemed to enter when the connection between God, Adam, and Eve was broke. So while they didn't maybe die immediately, death did enter the scene, and now their days were numbered instead of being in the garden with God.
Yeah, so where'd you get this notion? It seems like that the reason why we had the concept of death is because there's literally an angel guarding the tree of life, so they can't reach out and take of the tree of life and live forever, as the text tells us.
Yes.
So the thing that you're describing of the presence leaving and stuff like that is make-believe. Not that it all isn't fiction, but in this case, it's you adding to the fiction, your own little narrative. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, were they separated, yes or no?
I don't think so. As Skits pointed out, God is omnipresent, and also God continued to show up and talk. He's talking to Cain in the next chapter. So I don't know that he's separated.
Well, did the garden provide special access, VIP access, if you will?
I don't know. I know that God walked with them in the cool of the evening, And then he comes and he finds Adam and says, "Who told you you were naked?" And he gives them the like parameters of the tree thing. And then in the next chapter, he comes to Cain and he goes, "Where's your brother?" Or do your thing correctly. Do your sacrifice correctly.
The separation is the beginning of the death. That's all that I'm trying to say.
Dark. You're making that up. You're making
No,
that
I'm not, because then they did die at that point. Their days were numbered.
So they
That's
died
what I'm saying. I'm not making it
eventually
up.
because he separated them from the tree of life, not from God.
Right.
God being separated from God has nothing to do with it. So you really have to drop
No,
that.
because something
unless
changed. Something changed.
This is what's weird, Dark. I'm quoting scripture to you, and you're like, "Nuh-uh." You don't have any
That
leg
is
to
the
stand
death.
on here.
That is
You have
the
no
death. I'm
leg to
telling
stand.
you.
No, the death
I'm
is
telling
that they
you, that is
can't
the
eat
death.
from the tree of life.
And they die.
That's the death. It's worded poorly because
I understand
the
it.
snake says, "In the day that you eat of it, you will be like God, knowing good and evil." And then God says, "Don't do this, because in the day that you eat of it, you will surely die." So we get the same phrase used twice. Then in the day that they eat of it, God says, "They have become like us, knowing good and evil." So what the snake said came true. In the day that they ate of it, they became like gods, knowing good and evil. And then in the day that they ate of it, they did not die.
Do you know what the Hebrew word is for day?
I'm not sure, no.
It's yom.
Okay.
So it is.
So anyway,
it
in the
is-
day, in the yom that they ate of it,
Well, no,
I'll just say that.
well,
In the
no, but-
yom that they ate
well,
of it,
it's hard. It's hard because the word yom is used in different meanings.
in the text, it says one thing, and God did not communicate what happened, right? In the day that they ate of it, they did not die. In the day that they ate of it, he decided to remove them from the garden so that they couldn't eat from the tree of life and live forever anymore. That is different. There is a difference there. What God said didn't come true to the letter. You saying, no, they began to die, and that's when they blocked him from the garden, whatever, fine. You're gonna massage that text. Go for it, whatever. The adding to it is a little bit disconcerting. The adding the separation thing, that's nonsense. That doesn't exist. That's not in the text. I don't think you can find it anywhere in the Bible. That's made up.
Well, I don't think it's a stretch because
It is.
if you continue reading the book, heaven would be back in the VIP access with God's presence again, which leads to eternal life.
No,
So
but
it's
God
really
is-
not.
is
it's
God-
not.
is-
It's not a misunderstanding
Is
of the
God
scripture.
omnipresent?
Yes, but are
right.
sinners allowed into His presence? He can be
Sure.
omnipresent, but are we allowed into His
Yes.
presence?
Yeah.
No, we're not. That's the whole reason why Jesus came. According
Where's
to
the
book.
verse? Where's that verse?
I sin all the time, and I'm in the presence of God.
Yeah,
Because
he's
God is omnipresent, and I do all kinds of
You
things.
don't understand what you don't understand. what
Dark
omnipresence
Saber.
means.
Everywhere.
Dark Saber was.
You're not in the
Cain.
presence of God.
Dark.
Well, then God's
Dark.
not everywhere.
No.
Not only is God omnipresent, which blows your thing out of the water, but was Abraham a sinner? He pimped his wife. The answer is yes, and God walked around with him. Was Moses a sinner?
Abraham.
He murdered someone. Yeah, so of course, he's a sinner, and God revealed himself. He talked face to face with Moses. God has been with people, hanging out with them in many different ways, even though they're sinners. What happens in Job? Satan comes up to heaven or whatever and talks to God about going and fucking with Job. I mean, God is always around sin. So unless you can find a verse that says God cannot be in the presence of sin, you're making more shit up.
According to the book, what did Jesus die for?
I
He
think he
fulfilling
died.
all the
He
Old Testament
died to
sacrifices.
show what love is. But anyone that has a brain and thinks critically can see that it was unnecessary, and therefore it was this weird gaslighty act of theater that didn't have to happen, that he did for no good reason. It's very very
Blood magic.
stupid.
You know what? I hate when people say that Jesus like sacrificed himself, because it's not like he like willingly crawled up onto the cross. Like he hid, he was hiding, and he was captured. He didn't willingly do it, so it's like it's not really a sacrifice.
Do you know what Old Testament sacrifices would do? It would forgive your sins so you would be in a good upstanding with God.
Yeah, they used to stand
Yeah.
around and have barbecue and cook food up. And I
Yeah,
was
it's
like, I
great.
love
It's
me some
weird. It's
barbecue.
weird. That's because Jesus was unique, but
Oh, change the rules. Yeah.
he claimed to be God.
God, but this is the point,
That's-
Dark Saber. Who came up with
Claim.
the whole sacrificial system of the Old Testament? Whose great plan was that? Who required it?
Probably God.
God.
Priests.
God. It was God. Wages of sin is death, all that nonsense. So that's what proves to us that Jesus' sacrifice, quote unquote, is arbitrary because it's unnecessary. It doesn't have to happen. Just like all the killing in the desert didn't have to happen. This is all just like God arbitrarily, unnecessarily requiring tons and tons of bloodshed of something perfect for no good reason. That's gross. That's barbaric. That's stupid. That's nonsense. Dump the book.
Fucking dump it.
I am so sorry I missed that first segment. I was actually here. I was just hiding under the desk as a prank, and Joel didn't even notice. But then, during the last clip, I jumped up and I scared him, and he hated it, like really hated it. And then we got to talking about omnipresence and this weird entailment where if God is by definition everywhere, then he can't leave a place, which means leaving is a task that God just can't do. And Joel, being Joel, wanted to one-up God, so he was like, watch this trick, Yahweh, and he just walked right the fuck out of here like a boss. It was dope, and it also is really relevant to this next clip.
Hey, Defender, welcome. And what's your age and religion?
I'm 19 and I'm Byzantine Catholic. I want to talk what you had in your background. God's description is a contradiction.
Yeah, well, so there's a few different things. Like, in one way, I was just reading the Bible, and there's a contradiction happening, right, in the Bible here, and that's where I learned about God. And so, if it describes God contradictorily, that's not a word, then it's confusing to me. But also, all the stuff about the omnis is just they don't fit together. It's like this puzzle pieces that don't fit. Once you make one omni, it kind of cancels out another omni.
So the basic in regards to those are indexical statements. So within the knowledge of God and what God's capable of, we do not hold the same to us on our views of those things. So between us, it's an indexical statement. So it's different relying on which one you say.
So he's not omni-capable?
No, he is.
Okay, so he can do anything?
Anything that's in his nature or essence.
Anything that's within his nature.
Yeah.
What's something that's outside of his nature?
So creating something that's illogical, like a square circle.
Okay.
Logical,
is that within your nature?
No. So
I just want to know what that means to be within your nature. I don't understand that. What's something that's outside of my nature?
Well, for instance, you are not a dog. So your nature or being or fundamental things within your nature is to be human, like you're a rational animal. That's your essence or who you are.
So I can do everything that I'm capable of?
Yes.
So I'm omni-capable too?
No.
I can do everything that I'm capable of?
Within your
everything that's within my nature I can do, so I'm omni-capable.
I know, but when we're talking about God, God is identical to his essence, identical to who he is.
Am I identical to my essence?
No.
How so?
Because when you come to metaphysics, there's a distinction between essence and being.
I don't understand, because you're saying there's things God can't do.
Yeah.
But everything that is within his nature he can do, so he's omnipotent.
So if it's something that's against his nature, he cannot do.
Right. And being a dog is against my nature, so I can't do it. What's making me not omnipotent?
That's not an argument.
I'm asking you. It's not an argument. It's a question, because it sounds like you're devaluing, you're defiling the word omnipotence, because to me, omnipotence means nothing is outside of your nature.
No, because it's not in your nature to do so.
Then omni is not the right word for it.
No. You're
right,
classifying this wrong.
Correct.
So you're coming from a perspective that is different.
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to understand your perspective because it's different than mine. My perspective means omni means all, and it just means all. That's it. There's no qualifier to it. You're adding qualifiers to omni, which devalues the meaning of the word. So just don't use that word. Say he's semi-potent. He's semi-present.
No, he's omnipresent.
God is everywhere?
Yes.
Is he in hell?
No. Kind of. So with regards to hell, specifically within the Apostolic Church, hell is a subjective thing. So it's an inner feeling. It's the privation of what is all good and loving, which is God.
So he's not present there?
Within somebody.
Within somebody? He's not in them?
So no, the spirit.
Okay. Are spirits placed anywhere?
No.
So what is it?
trying to define spirit because there's a couple different terminologies of spirit within the biblical text. It's action in the transformation of someone. That's technically what the spirit is.
Action in the transformation of someone.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense. I have no idea what those words together mean. And you're able to experience action in the... Say it one more time. Action in the what?
Action in the what?
Action in the what? Say it one more time.
Honestly, I forgot what I said, to be honest with you.
It was literally utter nonsense.
Defining the spirit is very hard. It's technical.
It's untechnical. If it was technical, there would be a clear definition for it. It's vague. It's the opposite of technical. You haven't been able to really clearly nail down what either of those are, so it's hard to tell if God can be there or not, or cannot be there.
Hell is the privation of the Spirit of God.
Okay.
So what hell is, it's a privation of what is all good and all knowing.
So God is still there,
Yes.
but you don't get to experience him.
No.
He watches you feel this torture. He knows you're feeling this torture. He knows you're experiencing this pain, this loss, this suffering, but he doesn't engage with you in a way, even though he's within you.
It's via someone's own decision.
That's fine. Whatever the reason is that he wants to do it, he's there. He's experiencing you cooking. He's experiencing you be privated.
It's up to somebody to give their life to God and choose that.
If I asked God to leave me, would he do it?
Well, belief is rooted in action, though. So if you act in that manner, yes.
Okay, if I just say it and I act in a way where I say, God, please leave my body and leave me alone.
That's not truly where belief is. Belief is rooted in action.
Belief is rooted in action. My action is I'm going to kick God out of my body.
Belief in God does not really show that I believe in God.
No, I'm going to say I don't believe in God. God, please leave my body. That's my free will I'm trying to exercise that you're trying to hint at. If I use that, will he leave?
Sure. If you want to go there with that argument, sure.
Okay, so then he won't be omnipresent anymore. I'm going to do it right now, okay? God will cease to be omnipresent in this moment.
Privation of love?
God, please leave my body right now. Be out of my heart, be out of my mind. Do not exist within me. Give me my own body and let me be free without you.
Because of the privation of love.
You just said he would leave my body. Did he leave?
Your argumentation is silly, I'm not going to lie.
Did he leave or not?
Your argumentation is silly.
Then critique it. Respond to it.
So you're going to deny God.
I just did it.
Wow.
Now, did he leave?
It's kind of this nonsensical ideology.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a contradiction, right?
Maybe you should study metaphysics.
I'm trying to do that right now. I'm asking you how this works. You said God was within me because he's omnipresent, and I asked him to leave. He obeyed my free will, right?
You bring up these nonsensical definitions or analogies that you're using.
What analogy am I using?
Just by saying, oh God, leave my body.
That wasn't an analogy. This is a real live thing that happened right now. We're doing this live.
But that's not where true belief is, and I'm trying to tell you that. Belief is rooted in action.
Did I just act in a way that God would leave my body?
You act in a way that God does not exist or God is not with you.
And speaking is acting, right?
Speaking is not action.
Speaking isn't an act?
I can say anything. It's belief is rooted in action. Just saying it is not what you actually believe.
I already believe he's not in me. So I believe it and I said it. What else do I have to do to get God out of me?
You act in a manner which you believe, though.
Yes.
Okay.
So did God leave me?
So then you don't truly believe, then.
Can God leave me or not?
You're approaching the argument from a wrong. You're approaching the argument wrong.
Then just answer the question and explain why it's wrong. You can't just say nuh-uh.
I just told you why it's wrong, and you're not listening.
Okay, say it again. Sorry about that. I interrupted. Go ahead.
Belief is rooted in action, and through your actions, you're not showing that you truly don't believe. Anybody can say something. It does not mean it's true.
Is that the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it possible, I accept that perfectly, you nailed it, very good. Is it possible for God to leave me?
Not in the manner which you think, no.
Is it possible in any way, in a different manner?
See, God is still with us. God is omnipresence, right? We have
Then the answer is no, he can't. Just say no, he is still in you.
You know what EE is in metaphysics?
So then just say that. Like that. If you're saying yes, he left, but no, he didn't, you're making a new contradiction. Add it to the list.
God is omnipresence, right? He's omnipresent.
So he can't leave me.
No. Wait, you're not letting me explain. So God is omnipresent, right? He can be all around us, right? Like things like love, right?
He's all around us and in us, like things like love. What words are you stringing together, dude?
So it's via an energy of God or a way God interacts with you. It doesn't mean God is totally gone because God is
All right.
omnipresent.
Let me ask it this way. I have a garage, right? Can he leave my garage? If there's no souls in there, no beings.
This is a nonsensical argument. What do you mean God can leave my garage?
That's my question. You think he's in my garage. I don't. But if he can leave my garage, he won't be omnipresent anymore, right?
What? Of course he
'Cause
wouldn't be omnipresent then.
Yeah, there's a place he wouldn't be. So he's incapable of leaving my garage, right?
I know, but there's a distinction between its omnipotency, him being everywhere, and taking something from you that is an attribute of him, like love, a privation of it.
Right. That's why I'm doing it from a location and not from like a person that can experience love. My garage can't experience love, right?
No. What kind of question is that?
I'm just making sure so that we can clarify what we're talking about,
So
because you
he's
keep on
still-
talking about
he's
love,
still
and I don't
omnipresent.
know why. I don't know
Still
why.
omnipresent.
So then just say he's incapable of leaving my garage.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I just said sure. I don't know. But these arguments are so
God is
nonsensical.
incapable of leaving a garage. So that's a thing God can't do.
Arguments are so brain rot and make absolutely no sense. Like you said,
I'm sorry that they're not making sense to you because you're stuck in your contradictions, but you said he can do everything and you said he can't leave my garage.
So I would say it's not in God's nature to play with a yo-yo.
But he's messing with you.
Okay.
Do you think he knows everything?
Yes.
Can he learn a new thing?
No.
There's another thing to add to the list. Can he forget things?
No, because these are
There's another thing to add to the list.
this is an indexical knowledge. Learning and doing these things, right, is depending on the person telling it or doing it. God's knowledge encompasses both. It encompasses all things.
Wait, say that again. It encompasses all things.
Besides learning, yes.
He doesn't know learning?
God can't learn. What do you...
You're saying it in a really weird way.
God can't learn.
Yeah, okay. Can he forget?
No.
This list of things like keeps growing, right? You know, he can't enter any place. He can't leave any place. He can't learn anything new. He can't forget anything. Can he do bad things? Do you think that's the case? Or does he only do good things?
No, because bad thing is a privation of who God is.
Okay, so there's like a long list of bad things he can't do, right? Do you think sometimes it's bad, like for people who are really like dirty minded and think about like horrific things? Do you think that it's bad for them to think about it?
Like what?
There's like a guy who really thinks about diddling like kids a lot. That's like a not a sexual act. It's like a terrible, awful, horrendous act, and he thinks about it. That's evil for him to think about it, right?
Of course.
Does God know what it feels like to do that, though?
What kind of argumentation is this?
Is this another thing God can't do?
I just told you.
Another thing God doesn't know?
It's ident-
Add it to the list. There's a bunch more stuff God is not capable of doing. It's perfectly fine. You're the one shrinking your God here. You keep adding stuff to the list. Yeah.
Things are just the privation of who he is.
Yeah. And can you define that in some other words that make a little more sense? Like maybe use the thesaurus or something. Like, what do you mean by that?
So when these things come up that we'd consider evil, right? It's just the lack of what is all good and knowing, and what is all good and all love, which is God. So when you talk about can God play a yo-yo or whatever, you're coming from it from a wrong approach. Because it's not identical to who he is or a set of actions.
And this is the God from the Bible?
Yes.
So all these things that like seem bad, but that he does in the Bible are confusing now again. Because you're saying he can't do these things, but here he is in the Bible doing them.
In regards to the corpus of the text, I kind of hold a different view than most Protestants. I don't view it as literal. Not in that way.
How are you getting all these ideas about God then?
Read the church fathers. Read the early church. Read metaphysics.
Where'd they get it from?
So here's the thing.
It's from the
Bible.
Bible. Good. Yeah, good.
No,
Yeah,
listen,
they got it from the Bible. That's
because
correct.
The Bible and the foundation of the church, right? The early church built this.
Yeah, they made it up.
Mezzo just sent me a text that said, "I'm across the universe." I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I think it might mean that he's next door at Abbey Road Studios. But Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's been pretty fun so far, but we're in for a little bit more fun. Just something really. So I actually wouldn't even call this a debate. This was just a conversation where I tried to navigate the impossible sort of ups and downs and ins and outs of, I'll say, a Southern gentleman who is just spouting off Christian nonsense. And you're going to say, well, everything Christians say is nonsense. Come on. Sometimes they make a cogent argument, even if it's not very good. In this case, it's nothing. It's just silliness. But I hope you get a chuckle out of it. BBDs. All right, we have Chris here. Chris, can I help you dump the Bible? I know you said you wouldn't have it any other way, but don't you think it's time to dump?
Well, there's a few Bibles that can because they got so much stuff taken from them. But then you got the ones that don't try to take you back to the Roman Catholic Church, and then the kind that don't try to cause confusion and take away from what God really wants all of his kids to know.
All right.
And,
what does God really want his kids to know?
He didn't want to just throw us away. He was being a good dad when Adam and Eve didn't listen to begin with. And then what did he do? You know, he lets you go through and have your little wild side, but then he's like, all right, these are my children. I'm coming back and I'm going to let them know the truth of it all. He came in the flesh. He walked around and talked to us all. And he fulfilled everything that Adam messed up on. And
did you hear me talking? I remember dropping you because you yap preaching, but you don't.
Well,
actually
why'd
have
you
a
drop
conversation.
somebody? If you're going to talk, let me talk.
Yeah, but you end up just like yap. Anyway, just try to have a conversation.
No, it's not yapping. I can consider yours yapping.
Okay, so my question is, who sets the wages of sin?
God does.
God. Who came up with the whole like sacrificial system that was going on with like the animals and such?
The wages of sin is where the devil and them's going, and that's death.
So
Adam
how
and
did
Eve was
well,
warned not to
hold
go for
on,
there.
Chris? The question was who came up with the whole sacrificial system? That wasn't an invitation to go on about the why the wages of sin are death. So who came up with the killing all the animals thing?
Wages of sin was death when they come
So
here.
that was God.
Lord's
the one.
knowing.
Was the God the one that said in Leviticus 1-10 all the ways that you're supposed to kill animals for them? I think so, right?
That was a temporary fulfillment, but that's.
But that was
nothing,
what he did, and
know.
then later on he came up with this other notion. Was it God that came up with the notion that you can kill a person that's perfect one last time, and that'll solve the problem?
No, that was God in the flesh.
That was God's idea, though.
Isn't he a beautiful dad? He'll die for his kids, the wages of our
No,
sin.
see, it isn't because he didn't
beautiful.
have to do that. He would only have had to do that if his hand was forced, but it wasn't. He did not have to do that. The wages of sin could have been tickled by a feather. He didn't have to have countless animals killed in a desert for 2,000 years and then killing himself for himself. That did not have to happen.
He gave us the brains, and he's teaching the kids. We got to have God. Without him, there's nothing.
Oh, amen.
But those sacrifices was a good savoring
Some
smell
of it,
to
some
God.
of it was, but a lot of it was wasted. A lot of it was burnt to smithereens and completely wasted. You know that. You read it.
Well, they'd use the ashes. They'd use the ashes of some things to like purification. That's why we get soap from.
That's not. Oh well, all
ashes
right.
and
You think that
things.
it was a soap factory?
And-
I think that. Was
And we get
surprising,
the
'cause it
fat.
doesn't really
You use
spell
the
that
fat.
out.
It
Yeah,
cleans things up.
show me the verse where they used it to make soap.
Well, they're showing you when they tell you about that temple they're trying to get in Jerusalem. They're going to burn those red heifers, and they're going to use the ashes and stuff on it. And then
Well,
soap.
that's
You
not.
can see today
Is
it's
that a
made from
verse?
It's made from the fat and everything else. That's been known forever.
All right, so
And,
it wasn't actually stupid arbitrary sacrifices. This was a factory for meat and soap production. So why did they make it
And-
so silly with all this like God stuff, touch the thing, bleed it out,
Oh, no.
sprinkle blood on stuff, rip off the heads of turtle doves? Why did they do all that stuff when they were just like making soap?
It all pointed to the ultimate sacrifice that was going to take care of all the sin.
Right,
and
that's
that
what
was-
I'm saying. The ultimate arbitrary
spoken.
sacrifice. That's what I was talking
Yeah,
about. It's so
that's a
pointless
loving
and
God.
stupid. It'd be loving
He's very
if
loving.
if it was necessary, but it's not necessary. Remember that, Chris?
It was necessary because man lost it, and the wages of sin is death.
Yeah, but remember when I said God made that up, so it was unnecessary. Things that are necessary aren't things that God makes up arbitrarily. They're things that have to happen.
Well, we all have brains that God gave us, and a lot of us jump off the horse and think we're smarter than God.
Well, Chris,
Oh,
you don't.
yes, I
you
see it
don't
every
think, I feel like you just don't think for yourself.
Remember, Jesus didn't bow to the devil when he offered him the world? And then if you'll listen and get away
the
from all
devil
the
had
noise.
the world to offer God. Let me ask you this question really fast, Chris. When the devil was offering Jesus the world, was he crawling on his belly?
Well, what it meant was he was going to...
Chris, you
gonna be on his
gotta
belly.
answer my question.
Yeah, when
Was
you know
the
what the
devil
Spirit was
crawling
saying.
on his was the devil crawling on his belly when he tempted Christ?
Yes, he's on earth eating all the ones that was made of dust that don't want to
When
be
the
with God.
devil tempted Christ, was he crawling on his belly?
He's on the earth eating all the ones that's made of dust.
Just answer the questions directly. Don't be silly, Sandra.
Hey, finally both here.
Well, there you are. Finally, let's do the outro.
Yep, take it away, buddy.
Well, that's it from us. I'm Joel.
I'm Mezzo.
And I'm Joel. And just make sure you follow Bad Bible Debates wherever good podcasts are sold.
Yeah, or wherever you normally hijack them from.
And if you can, like it or leave a comment or anything on whatever platform you're using, please do that too.
That's right, buddy. And be sure to follow me on YouTube and TikTok. That's where we record all of these lives from. So if you want to catch the whole thing live, we got a lot of stuff going on over there.
We're always going live on TikTok and on YouTube. So yeah, definitely follow Mezzo there. And also, hey, look, follow me on TikTok, Joel Reads Bible, or subscribe on YouTube at Joel Reads Bible.
Oh, right. I guess I should say my handle is Mezzo_WS. That's pretty much the same on everything.
That's it from us for now. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Bad Bible Debates.
Dude, I think that went really well.
Actually, you know what? I think that was one of our best.
Oh, I wouldn't say best. I mean, it was okay.
No, I'm not joking.
I really liked your part.
You're so hard on yourself. You know, just listen closer to mine, and maybe you'll get it. You know, I think eventually you will get it.